Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with Venom issue 1. And I bought this book a long time ago. And I remember, I collected up to, I think, issue 5 or 6. And at the time, I wasn't really well versed in Spider-Man. So, I mean, I knew who Flash was, knew what the symbiote was, but I didn't really, I wasn't too big on who Betty Brant was, etc., so forth. So this book didn't mean anything to me. But what really drew me to it back in the day was that was Rick Remender writing. And, of course, in true fashion, I sold this book, the whole line. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass to get this book back, but I'm glad. And I'm not letting it go again. Now, before we dive into it and that you guys can make fun of me, let's talk about who made this book. This is Rick Remender doing the writing, Tony Moore penciler. Inks are Crime Lab Studios. And colors, John Ranch. Let's see, who else is doing? Letter was VC Joe Caramanga. And then there's everyone else working on the book. And then, of course, Spider-Man was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. I always have to stop for a second. And I love that, even though it says classified here, it gives you sort of a recap of where Flash Thompson came from, where he started out as a big jackass bully to Peter Parker. Spider-Man inspired him to be a hero, went to war, came back home injured, and then eventually joined with the symbiote as part of the government experimentation. So that was just a real awesome way to kind of, if you've never read a Spider-Man book or not real versed on Flash as I am, like I was, that helped immensely. And then after that, I love how when you try to change the page of the book, the pages just kind of, you dive into just lots and lots of nasty, gritty action. And this is supposed to be, I more than likely cannot pronounce that, Norveskinton. I'm not even going to try. Eastern Europe. Let's just leave it at that. If you guys can pronounce that, help me out and just laugh at me down in the comments. So this, I'm thinking this is supposed to be an older son with his mother, and he's like, come on, Mama, please, we must hurry. And she's saying, just leave me. This is hopeless. And then before anything can happen, we get these Stark Tech UN soldiers saying, go, get behind us. You're safe now. These, where it says, hold on. Listen up, mech troops. Behind me, we've got a band of genocidal nationalists known as the Bright, participating in ethnic cleansing. This is the exact class of dirtbag you dreamed of fighting when you were called from your warm winter beds. And it says, our armor is designed to keep us alive after dancing a mambo with a 50 megaton nuke. There is some justice in the world, boys. And then, spoiler alert, right here, they're kind of, we're going to kick ass and take names, and all of a sudden, it's just kind of like, wait, weren't you supposed to be able to survive a 50 megaton bomb? Holy crap. And this is where we get where is it? First appearance. And I didn't even know this was a first appearance when it came out. This is the first appearance of Jack-O-Lantern. And I like the way they bring him in, just creepy. The artwork is absolutely fantastic. They use those orange and yellows in the midst of this cacophony of violence. It's like, shouldn't make promises you can't keep. Real faux pas. And even though Jack-O-Lantern's a real nasty genocidal maniac in this book, he's actually, it's one of those you love to hate him, because the way he talks, he's just very jackassy, but it adds to his character. And you come to find out as he's talking to, I think is his dad, or at least he refers to him as dad, about what their orders. They're essentially agents of chaos. And in the midst of all this is happening, it says a chaotic world needs more weapons, which happens to be the business that we're in. Isn't it wonderfully convenient how our ethical and philosophical perspective match our financial plans so perfectly? And this is the dad talking to Jack-O-Lantern. And while this is happening, we see a figure in black hero leap from the helicopter. And they say, my country's best days are behind her, that we've lost our way. They say we become engorged, only want to become richer, which I understand what the writer is saying. But here, and this is where people kind of forget, Flash says, my name's Eugene Flash Thompson, corporal in the United States Army. And I sure as hell believe in my country. My belief in her is why I'm here, thousands of miles from home, protecting the lives of strangers. These aren't trite principles to me. And he's like, I know the risk that I'm wearing this for wearing this damn suit. So I love that Rick Remender points out, what happens with a lot of corrupt governments. But when you actually start to look at the individuals and what they stand up for, what they believe in, that's where you start to really appreciate Flash and how, even though his mission is to get this weapon maker that sold the weapons to, getting this backwards, where Jack-o'-lantern and his dad sold this weapon, one or the other. Yeah, because you come to find out that the metal's a type of vibranium. And anyway, Flash's mission here is to stop the weapon maker. But saving this woman and her child is more important to him. Even though, getting his butt kicked by Jack-o'-lantern, he still goes out of his way to save this woman and his child. And that's what shows the greatness of what he believes in and why he said, my principles aren't to be trifled with, or they're not, I don't believe these just flippantly. These are my core beliefs of who I am. And because, as he saw Spider-Man come into the game back in the day and saw what Spidey stood for, he takes those principles and applies them to what he did when he went into the military. And that's what made Flash such a deeper character than such just a bully when he was introduced back in the day. And spoiler alert if you've never really read a lot of Spider-Man or Flash Thompson, but as you get back to America, people aren't happy of what happened, like the fallout of how he was able to end the mission. And he can only stay in the symbiote suit for more than, I think it's 48 hours, or the symbiote bonds and makes him crazy like it did with Peter Parker. The one loophole in this book that I wish they would have pointed out is I don't know when the U.S. government captured Venom. That's probably like the only things I wish Rick would have at the beginning said, please reference Amazing Spider-Man or Spectacular Spider-Man or whatever umpteenth Spider-Man book is out there. Said, read this to understand how this book kicked off, because this gentleman here, I don't think we get his name, says that the last person that was in the suit, the government has to put essentially brain bombs like the Suicide Squad inside of them. And if the symbiote starts to take over too much to where there's no turning back, he flips the brain bomb and kills the host. And this gentleman tells Flash, says, you were borderline losing your temper out there. I need you to stay calm. The last person that wore this suit, I had to end his life. Get it together. And anyways, I was saying with spoiler alerts, you come to find out that Flash lost his legs for the military. And so in a sense, going back in the symbiote, it gives him legs, which, who wouldn't want to do that if you were in that position? And with all that said, you come to find out that Flash, even though he's believes in his country, he's still trying to do his best as an individual, but we can see that he's still a broken character. He was recovering alcoholic, trying to rebuild his life with Betty Brant. And it's just a great way to show the two different ways of how when he's a hero, he's, in his element. But when he's back in his civilian life, he lets his demons get a hold of him. And Remender actually aptly ends this book by saying a man's venom poisons himself more than his victim. Man, guys, I wish I had not sold this series back in the day. I just, young, needed money, but I'm glad that I got at least the first issue back, because going back, having some more knowledge on Spidey now, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. And if you guys have as well, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy if you can. Fingers crossed for y'all. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little symbiote bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.